How much time? 30? 30 seconds? I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Run.
What?
It's difficult to overstate the importance of Morgan McSweeney to the Starmerism project. I think that's fair to say. You know, he was absolutely at the heart of the election victory. He's been at Keir Starmer's side ever since. I mean, he is the Starmerism project. Can Keir Starmer survive without him?
Well, Morgan McSweeney certainly played an important role with Keir in, first of all, changing and recovering, I would say, the Labour Party to a position where it could win the general election in 2024 and helping to win that election and for the first 18 months in government. But it was Keir Starmer that led the party to win that election, to win a 5-year term to change the country. And it's Keir Starmer that will continue to lead that change.
You can't downplay his role, though.
Well, I think I just said that
he was really important.
I think I just said that I thought he played an important role, and I certainly, and I know others are grateful to him for, particularly for the change that he made in our party after a disastrous previous election result to enable us to be in the position where Keir Starmer can lead the change that this country needs.
Did you see that? Did you?
We're brewing good, people. Welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host Lefty. A very warm welcome to everybody on stream. Let's brew this thing. The shouty bloke proudly announcing he was first in the chat. Great to see you, shouty. Big Jerry as well, also joining us for a good evening. Well, 24 hours is sometimes a long time in politics. On yesterday's Sunday live stream, we had a poll up asking if Starmer would make it through to the next local elections in May. Tonight, we've had to narrow that down. After a narrow victory yesterday, 52 to 48, I think it was in the end. Most viewers thought he would resign before the next election. But from a narrow victory to narrowing it down to a week with everything that's happened today, it's been quite the day. Far from eventless, that's for sure. We're going to be getting particularly brutal where Keir Starmer's concerned this evening. And deservedly so, I think you'll agree. JK, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. We're coming to you in a classic 480 this evening, I believe. Had to do a bit of tinkering after a few technical problems yesterday. So it's a bit of an experiment. We'll see if we get along. So yeah. Technical update complete. Make sure you hit thumbs up when you join us on stream, people. Really would appreciate that. Helps to spread the Solidari-Tea. Shout out to all the members on the channel as well. Speaking of Solidari-Tea, 174 members now, on the way to the goal of 250. As always, thank you very much to everybody who's renewed their own memberships recently, as well as gifted to others. And there are more ways that you can help to support this stream and the channel. Super chats are open, as well as super stickers if you're watching live. We've got super thanks if you're watching back later on. 10 PM's not convenient for everybody, but we do appreciate those who watch back later as well. And there's a Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of this stream and any other content on the channel, and would be much obliged if you'd share some of said content around your social media as well. Give us a follow while you're there at My Left Eye UK. Want to promote the channel? A fairly new hype button might also be available to some of you. Depends which country you're watching from and which device you're watching on, I believe. But just underneath, roughly where the thumbs up button, etc. is, you should see, or might see, a hype button. We would really appreciate if you hyped some of our content. It's a points-based thing, I believe. It helps viewers to support their favourite channels, such as My Left Eye. Shouty bloke, no, we're already on OBS actually, not Streamlabs. It's just a bit of a basic version, a bit of a basic setup, but not for very long at all now. So yes, please do vote in the poll. Will Keir Starmer resign before the end of the week? Say you aye or say you nay? I think that's all the technical points and self-promotion taken care of.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
As much as I really am enjoying the downfall of Scandalson, Peter Scandalson, you see, Brew Crew, I've come up with a way to be able to say his name in full without vomiting or dry retching every time I do so. And it's worked so far. So henceforth, I'm going to refer to the Prince of Darkness either as the Prince of Darkness, or that slimy lizardy twat, or Peter Scandalson. Just throwing that one out there. A channel called Nutty covers streaming issues. Not sure if I've heard of that one. Yeah, just have tinkered with the resolution and a few things recently. You pretty much have to keep it in 16:9. The aspect ratio, that is. We do what we can, but soon that won't be an issue. In fact, we can go 1080 or higher in a very short amount of time. I feel like I got temporarily distracted there from something I was talking about. I'm sure we'll get back onto it later on. But yeah, the vultures are circling for Keith. There have been resignations, not for Keith unfortunately, yet. Resignations today, calls for Starmer's resignation though, multiple, even from within his own party, that is. So we'll go through all of that as well. This sort of was developing at the same time as further news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor emerging. Popcorn-tastic. I don't know how much more popcorn I can fit in. Thanks for the recommendation, Shorty Bloke. Yeah, we'll make a note of Nutty. Maybe you can recommend some permutations that we've not thought of. Although we do have an increasingly intelligent tech team here on My Left Eye. The primate's doing particularly well. Being well looked after as well. We also have a bit more about the current hot seat, Gorton and Denson, to come up. A few other UK stories as well. We'll see what we can get through on the stream. And Wesley has apparently released a series of WhatsApp messages between himself and Peter Scandalson. JKS, Starmer has been the least popular Prime Minister almost as soon as he took over. He just plummeted and plummeted. And now here we are, what's the approval rate? About 11% at the moment. And just the lack of self-awareness, yeah, as you point out there. But they don't have any common touch, any, you know, proper connection with the public. Keir Starmer certainly doesn't. In fact, I think I'll just very quickly mention this before I forget when we get into the story, because it won't be the first time. This is mostly ad lib, you know. Anyway, it was difficult earlier on today to decide whether to do a video or a stream. In the end, we decided to do a stream because we didn't want to risk, you know, getting late into the editing phase of video, only for Starmer to resign. But this was after the Anas Sarwar thing, and a few other statements had come out. So yeah, here we are. That would have been typical. In fact, we apologise, because as fate would have had it, if we had started to make the video, then he probably would have resigned. Yeah, won't be the first time I've released a video and then an interesting development comes out moments later. But there you go. That's it when you're on the cutting edge of left-wing alternative media, as we certainly are. Quality. Didn't see Furage on Jeremy Vile. Was he on Jeremy Vile? Oh god. Yeah, avoid. How long was that? Maybe we'll might take a bit of a look at that later. Don't know, I'll see how we get on. So yeah, it's been touch and go all day as to what might happen, which has been rounded off with just an absolute sickening display of an attempt of unity from some elements of the Labour Party, from Keir Starmer himself actually. Yeah, so it looked as though one of the things that made it sort of touch and go as to whether to do a stream or a video was initially he was actually scheduled to make some sort of TV announcement, which is when everybody started to say, oh, this is it now, he's going to realise it's untenable. Even he's going to realise it and quit before he further embarrasses himself. But no, we weren't that lucky. He changed his mind and then decided to have this cabinet meeting, this love-in, this little get-together that's completely going to take our minds off the fact that the Prime Minister, you know, had prior knowledge of the US ambassador's close relationship to a convicted paedophile, even after he was convicted and in prison, and outspokenly supported him in emails, etc. He knew. Anybody who's not seen our recent video on that, please do check it out. But pay attention to the thumbnail. It's a sort of a double meaning with Starmer and Scandalson. You knew, I know. And that's what the speech bubbles in the thumbnail say, and that's the way it was. Not only did he know, he knows that he knew. It's layers within layers. But there's no denying that none of this, no amount of theatrics or however many people he wants to put on a conveyor belt to go on the news rounds and try and support him is going to have any effect on it whatsoever. And it's pretty cringe watching the efforts, to be honest. You know, the last Prime Minister of this country who served more than 3 years was David Cameron, which really does tell you something that we've gotten used to, how things are at the end of a premiership, and that is certainly where it's the worst. Well, even just started with Cameron, that was literally straight after the vote on the EU referendum. But then all the way up to Truss, Sunak, whomever it may be, their resounding final statement is always, you know, I'm not going anywhere. And even historically, if you hark back to Thatcher, there's that famous quote from Thatcher, isn't there? You know, you turn if you want to. The lady's not for turning. And they all say, yeah, I'm going nowhere, I'm going to stand my ground, I'm a fighter, not a quitter. That was another one of Truss's, was it? I think. But all words to that effect. In Starmer's case now, we'll get on to articles and stuff in a minute. Just want to get this off my chest first, I guess.
Hello.
But first off, yeah, just for all this embarrassing theatrics is concerned, even if he says he's not going anywhere, in my mind that means only one thing: then it's a leadership challenge, because it's either going to be him resigning or a leadership challenge. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I would bet my life on it. But he's just so pig-headed, I guess, and such a careerist. You know, the people who got him to the position he's in now, and I include the Israeli lobbyists in this, of course, as well as the neoliberal factions of old within Labour, Scandalson included, also Blair and so on. You know, they've put a lot of effort into this investment. And I guess they just want to try and milk every last bit that they can out of it, because this wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't in the playbook. This is a gamble that came out the way that it was most likely to, with a liability like Scandalson. Anyway, let's get into business. Let's get into matters. Enough of my yakking.
On with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it.
Sorry, I'm still here. It's just the background music, so there we go. It's like a few second gap before it's just resets. Where to begin? Where to begin? Obviously, Anas Sarwar, the Scottish Labour leader, called for Starmer to quit earlier. I'll come on to that in a moment. There was also this from Diane Abbott, who is still in Labour, but it's obviously almost an arch nemesis of Starmer's in a way. Stood her ground against him many times, but she says it's not a matter of if but when.
And they're now thinking that they can throw McSweeney overboard and everything will calm down. I don't think so. But I think my colleagues think it is inevitable. It is a question of not whether he goes, it's a question of when.
And the interviewer, whomever that was, sorry, I've just grabbed that snippet from social media earlier, was in total agreement there. It's been pretty difficult to find anyone with any genuine support for Starmer. From what I'm led to believe, within the space of 40 minutes, a series of MPs, cabinet members, etc. all posted very similarly worded messages of support for the Prime Minister, although it's thought that there were certain threats made towards them, i.e. you're either getting the whip removed or I'm throwing you under the bus as well if you don't post this. And then this is probably the same group of people who were all huddled into this room earlier on to cheer on for the Starmer-Führer. And apparently it was so full that they had to turn 2 people away from the room. Come on, sir. That in a bit more detail shortly. Let's take a look at Anasawa now. Very short clip, this. Just anyone who
have a genuine friendship with Keir Starmer. But my first priority and my first loyalty is to my country, Scotland. And I am not willing to sacrifice Scotland's NHS, our schools, our communities, our towns, cities, villages and islands to a third decade of an SNP government. That's why the distraction needs to end and the leadership in Downing Street has to change.
Well, what I make of that, well, first off, Starmer probably had high hopes that this might simmer down a little bit over the next few days. I don't think that that's the case, but he would argue that this has really ruined that. This has put the cat amongst the pigeons and caused a distraction and whatnot. As far as what he says is, obviously he's right in saying that Starmer should resign, but his reasons for it, I don't think, with or without Keir Starmer, that Labour have anything of a fighting chance in Scotland at the next general election, whether that happens in 6 months or in 29 when it's scheduled. So it seems to me that this is a self-preservatory move by Sarwar, in the sense that he wants to be one of the first who officially called for Starmer to resign and point the finger and then turn around and said, you know, I was putting my country first, like he tried to say there, but no, I think he's just putting himself first. And John Swinney, actually, from the SNP, picked up on this and had a response himself. I've got a clip of that as well.
I think it's crystal clear that Anasawa has made a big misjudgment today, because he's essentially demonstrated his own naked self-preservation and opportunism politically, and that's a pretty bad look politically to take forward. He's been a cheerleader for Keir Starmer for years.
Hello, this is Keir Starmer's Labour Party that you're talking about here. The people within Labour Party who genuinely want to support their constituents are so few and far between that you can count them on one fucking hand, if there are any at all. Well, Diane Abbott, obviously, who we just mentioned recently, who's mostly staying in Labour, not out of careerism like the others, but out of defiance. But as for the rest of them, yeah, they're pretty much just there for their own careers. Let's not forget, we spoke about this yesterday, most of them, if not all of them, were hand-selected by Peter Scandalson anyway. So of course they're not going to, a lot of them are not going to want to upset the apple cart, even though privately they might be saying that they want him to go. No, it's going to be very difficult for someone to be the first to stand up and say that they want him to leave. From within Labour, that is, but that might come in the form of a leadership challenge which might not be very far away at all.
Years, he described himself as an old friend of Peter Mandelson without a...
I think that's something I got distracted from at the start as well, so I will edge this in just very quickly. Where leadership challenges are concerned, something else came out today, apparently by accident. A link to Angela Rayner's leadership campaign page or website, something to that effect, was put out and then immediately retracted, but however some eagle-eyed people picked up on that fact. So this was about 3 weeks ago, mid-January, we're talking about here, when this happened. So even back then, even before things developed further with Peter Scandalson, Angela Rayner of Ashton-under-Lyne, which isn't very far away from where this stream's coming to you from tonight, certainly has, apparently has, what's the word I'm looking, ambitions, and is making preparations for a leadership challenge or bid of some form. So, yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts on that if you'd not heard about that one.
Passing thought for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. And now he wants us all to forget all about that and to acknowledge that Keir Starmer should leave office. Now, Keir Starmer has been a poor Prime Minister. I've made that crystal clear on countless occasions. He took terrible decisions like abolishing winter fuel payments for pensioners. He refused to lift the two-child cap until we shamed him into that action. So Keir Starmer has not been a good Prime Minister. But what we face in Scotland today is another example of chaos in the Westminster government. Labour were supposed to change all that because the Tories had delivered chaos before. Into that action. So Keir Starmer has not been a good Prime Minister. But what we face in Scotland today is another example of chaos in the Westminster government. Labour were supposed to change all that because the Tories had delivered chaos before them. But whether it's Labour chaos or Tory chaos, it's clear that Westminster doesn't work for Scotland. So what we will say to people in the run-up to the elections in May is that you've got the people of Scotland have a government that delivers on their priorities and offers the fresh start of independence.
Yeah, and that was pretty much an absolute gift to the SNP. Anna Sawar calling for Keir Starmer to step down. It was, I don't know, I'm kind of pleased about it. It's going to go to the SNP anyway, and I do support Scottish independence. We at My Left Eye all support Scottish independence, and so it's been effective not only in exposing Sawar's careerism, in also someone, the first person from within Labour calling for Starmer to quit, but that also gives the SNP a bit more of a boost. So as far as saving his own career is concerned, I'm not sure that it'll work out that way for Sawar, which is kind of strange. backfired a little bit, hasn't it? But with hilarious consequences. Yeah, so Swinney's very likely to be the next leader of the Scottish Parliament. Just bring up the article next. Just have a skim through some more of the latest and then on to this cringe fest. This loving. The Labour loving after the loveless landslide. It's all falling apart, isn't it?
Oh God!
James Holmes jumping in the chat with 5 gifted memberships. Solidari-Tea, brother. Appreciate that support. That's up to 179 now. Can we get a massive big up for James Holmes in the chat, please, people? Big up, big up. A long-term viewer of the channel. Really do appreciate the support, James. Solidari-Tea. When the broadcast software lets me. Just run a bit slow. Must have patience. There we go. 179, that'll be fine. Thanks again, James. Good to see you in the chat as well. Hope you've been well. Where were we? Yes, we're going into the article, aren't we? Oh, it's been a long day, people. You'll have to excuse the odd brain fart. But I'm a bit fresher than I was yesterday, to be honest. It was kind of fading. Not hungover or anything, just a long week. Where are we? Let's start with this main feed. Oh, of course, the other resignation. Tim Allen, wasn't it? Yeah. We'll go into that when this loads up. He's been stubborn as a mule, is Starmer. Like I just said earlier, it's the last thing they ever say, isn't it? I'm not prepared to walk away. Oh, leadership challenge it is then. Cabinet rallies to start, and bearing in mind this is the P.O.V feed, by the way. They do tend to get in there first, but you do have to get it from the likes of Chris friggin' Mason and goddamn fucking bear. Nearly went into a 5-minute rant about the P.O.V, but I'll leave that for now. Yeah, communications director Tim Allen was more or less forced out, thrown under the bus, and he's taken full responsibility, apparently. I didn't know anything. The buck stops with whoever I'm pointing at next. And then all this with Streeting and these WhatsApp messages do have a clip of that. We will get onto that because he did attempt to answer for it on the news rounds earlier. But Wesley being Wesley didn't do the best job of it. Of course, this has been an open goal for the likes of Sir Ed, Fetch Me My Hang Glider, Davy. It's probably got the broadest collection of crash helmets in the Houses of Parliament, I dare say. Even the MPs who cycle will probably only have a modest one or two. Ed Davey, though, depends on his incredible modes of transport that he's using for his stunts. But yeah, this is low-hanging fruit for Davey, for Badenoch, Bad Enoch, Tomato, which is probably going to make for a pretty lively PMQs this Wednesday, people. Make sure that you hit the notification bell. Be providing first time reaction to that. With Keith's catchphrases, of course. Will it be the last one? Well, 60% of you currently say nay. 40% say aye. So at the moment the nays have it that there will be at least 2 more episodes of Keith's catchphrases. Kind of ironic. I do want Starmer to go, of course, but I'm going to have to completely restructure Wednesday's PMQs. But we'd happily do that to see Keith leaving number 10. Of course, it'd be a very small price to pay. Also, just quickly on that matter, we'll have a new contender on Wednesday's Keith's catchphrases, which is the one that was recently voted by members. Clear, the word clear. So, given circumstances, given that Starmer's going to have a lot of explaining to do, pretty much, I could see the debutant making a decent effort. You heard it here first. That's some shit hot news for PMQs. Reeves, mistakes have been made, but lessons will be learned. No, they won't. No, they won't. It'll just be the same old crap. Well, thank goodness this takes the heat off me, said Reeves. Oh, she forgot that she was renting a house out for $3,000. Oh no, where's this? Didn't even notice that kind of money coming into my account. I know he does have a reputation of being something of a weather vane. However, I think Owen Jones posted a really good summary of the events of today and probably what we'll see throughout the rest of this week earlier on. He said even when a chicken loses its head, it is still for a brief time able to run around and flap its wings a bit, and that's pretty much what we're seeing now, because for some reason with Morgan McSweeney gone, they're all going to be a bit lost. He's supposed to be the orchestrator of their supposed success, but we took a look at polling levels since he was appointed as Chief of Staff. Absolutely well, tanking to 50% what they were at the time of the general election. Likewise, all of the talk of turning the Labour Party around is complete and utter baloney. We're all more than familiar with the fact that they undermined their own party in order to undermine the leader and supplant him in favour of Starmer. Again, just harking back to what I said a little bit earlier about the investment in Starmer goes a long way back, even as far back as 2015, because it was Ewan Blair, son of Tony, who wanted to put up Starmer for the leadership election, but nobody had heard of him back then. Except maybe one or two people might have recognised him as, I don't know if you're aware of this, you know, get ready for this mega stat. That'll be a first for you people, I'm sure. Did you know that he used to be the Director of Public Prosecutions? Oh yes, indeed. So that's how he was known at the time, but this project, the so-called Starmer project, as it's been referred to, goes back a long time. Because ever since the days of Tony Blair... Oh no, can't have any of that democratic socialism in Labour, can we? People like Jeremy Corbyn were a threat to that, and we know what happened. The thing is, the mainstream media is still so completely unaware of that. It'd be like getting blood out of a stone to get them to bring that up. They'll just go along with the narrative that Starmer's given. Just more about Sawa there. So here's a bit more about what Starmer had to say. I won't do the voice just for this bit. He said, "I have my detractors every single step along the way, and I've got them now. Detractors that don't want a Labour government at all, and certainly not one to succeed. But I'll tell you this, after having fought so hard for the chance to change our country, I'm not prepared to walk away from my mandate, and and my responsibility to my country, or to plunge us into chaos as others have done." He described the battle with Reform UK as the fight of our lives and the fight of our times. Well, I'll just interject here. By the way, this isn't these aren't Starmer's words. If you don't want reform to succeed, then why don't you step down in Gorton and Denton? Because you've only got, according to the bookmakers, when I checked earlier today, as well as the latest polling, but going with the bookies, a 10% chance. Just to put that in, you know, a plain, understandable number without going into the complexities of betting odds. But compare that to the Greens, who have a 52% chance, who are in front of reform, but you could give them another boost just by stepping down, if you don't want to, you know, split the so-called left vote. But we know that since 2020, Labour has lurched ever further to the right. So Keith ended by saying, "I'll tell you this," and this is where he tries to put on his strong voice. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's just so lame, isn't it, when he tries to put on the strong act. My brain just always goes to the punch bag thing, where he's losing to a punch bag. "I'll tell you this, as long as I've got breath in my body, I'll be in that fight on the behalf of the country that I love and believe in, against those that want to tear it up. That is my fight. That is all of our fight, and we're in this together. Do you want some, Britain? Do you want some? I'll tear you a new fucking arsehole, mate." Fucking... But it's just all, yeah, generic boardroom talk. That, again, he sounds like he's having to respond to shareholders as opposed to a nation of citizens, you know. As long as I've got breath in my body, I'll be in that fight on behalf of the country that I love. The country that I love. That rings a bell. A country that I love, and burst into tears in my scarf. It was Theresa May, wasn't it? When she was resigning. He's using actual words that Theresa May used in her resignation speech. The country I love. Oh. Fuck me running. It was bad. I didn't think it'd be that bad. He's actually using words from Theresa May's resignation speech to say why he won't be quitting. Bloody hell. Yeah, it was a bit too close to Zippy, that one, I think, Graham. The Keith. Didn't quite land it. Could do. Just need more practice. I'm going for a picnic, Jeffrey. Sorry, I nearly read that correspondent's name wrong. It's Harry Farley. I was really going to say Harley Farley, which would be a great name, wouldn't it? Anyway. Harry Farley, what's he got? Oh, Pat McFadden's been up. And he said, several of my colleagues were very forthright. The message got across that things need to change, and change quickly. And then Harry Farley probably said, excuse me, Pat, can you speak up a bit? Jesus Christ. Every fight I've been in, I've won. Well, he does have this thing as well, yeah. I'll be honest, you know, what is said about, a lot is said about Starmer, but one thing I do believe, certainly, is that he does literally hate to lose. He's one of those. He's that ambitious. You look at his career, you look at his CV. They say that he hates being knocked back. He hates, you know, what he considers losing, and this would be like a first for him. Well, I guess it would anyway. Not that he's always fought a fair fight. Let's be honest. When you've hindered people who are in your way, the way that he did with others to the Labour Party in 2017 and 2019 respectively. But he certainly is a vicious bastard, I'll give you that, Keith. I'll give you that, you bastard, ye. Allies of Starmer afterwards said he'd spoken about his brother who has learning difficulties and his sister, who had learning difficulties, and his sister who works in the NHS as examples of the sort of people he'd be with. Well, it's very rare for him to mention members of his family, to say, or try and re-emphasise how he's got that notorious common touch that we see so much. And one of the reasons he probably cancelled that scheduled TV appearance earlier wasn't just to change his mind about resigning. It was also the likelihood of his brain and his head actually exploding live on TV. As you know, the colossus reality of having to resign was realised. So yeah, Streeting, and it mentions these texts. Sorry, I can't get my words out. These texts from Scandalson Firstly, he wants to distance himself from Mandelson. Yeah, good luck with that one. He was buried in like a tick. This is to try and demonstrate the pair are not that close. Answer Scotch claims that his links to the ex-ambassador could ruin a future leadership pitch. Well, you've already fucked that one up. By association. JK, no, I would never say that Starmer's a decent man, is he? Look, not like a lot of the MPs that say, oh, I know, yeah, he's a decent man. Do decent men say that denying food and water is a right? Like he did? Did he encourage war crimes on LBC like he did? And that's even, you know, not getting into the political fuckery within the Labour Party itself and the PLP. Decent? No. That's how he's presented, of course. It's all fake. It's all, you know. Maybe he is all robots, you know, in the... Maybe it's some prototype AI's failure that we've just not been told about. Anyway, I've got to crack through this. Streeting is probably keen to show Labour MPs that he is a little like them, privately frustrated about the state of the economy, worried about holding on to his constituency, and excited to meet a famous US politician, the diplomatic president contender, Pete Buttigieg. So, Jesus Christ, he's such a wanker, isn't he? Let's play this clip first, because first of all, he acknowledges that his seat is at great risk. I think the words he actually used was, I'm going to be toast at the next general election. He also admitted that war crimes were happening right in front of, he says, our very eyes. This is the guy who's gone on TV multiple times to deny that or dodge around it. He'll have obviously deleted a lot of these. I think he probably thought it was best to delete some of the worst ones and have some of... They're obviously still bad, have some of them released. But that'd still work out better than if the entire lot came out. So it's a sort of damage limitation thing, I think, more than look what a good soul I am, you know, from streeting. Just go to this clip first. Or I will. I'm sure I had it. Yeah, sorry. Just not uploaded it. Wesley. You're right. What am I like? So, yeah, this is Sky News, obviously. You can see quite clearly. Earlier today, just need to make sure I can hear this in my cans. Okay, so some of the WhatsApp messages are going to be read out, and let's see how West does. He's got his explaining shoes on again.
I've got these messages here, and I've only just, to be honest, Wes, I'm literally just reading them shortly before you came in. But there is a lot of genuine.
Sorry. So I've not really had the time to prepare to tell you just what an incredible wanker you are, but I'll do my best. But you'll have to forgive me. I've not had much time to prepare to illustrate just what an absolute massive twat, two-faced, lying piece of shit that you are, you rat bastard.
I've got these messages here, and I've only just, to be honest, Wes, I'm literally just reading them shortly before you came in. But there is a lot of genuine intimacy here and friendship. You know, Wes, to you to
yep. Kiss.
Well done on the BBC. Very good kiss. Are you planning to visit the US this year? You hope so! Exclamation mark.
Kiss. No, obviously, there's nothing wrong with that between two men, of course. If you're very close friends, it's not uncommon for you to put kisses on messages, and nothing wrong with that entirely. But it does certainly indicate a very close friendship, at least, doesn't it, Wesley? I'm not going to bring, either Mandelson's or Streeting's sexual polarity into this whatsoever. But yeah, you're certainly going to struggle to distance yourself from someone who you've exchanged messages like that with. I mean, come on, Wes, come on.
Kiss. Are you embarrassed by that? I mean, that's quite an intimate friendship, isn't it?
No, look, an intimate friendship with Peter Mandelson.
What are you like? I mean, I don't even. Who? Never heard of him.
Look, I'm
Wes, there's dozens and dozens.
I'm very happy to.
But there are dozens and dozens of messages here.
And people will be able to read them. What I felt I saw over the weekend was this implication that somehow.
Yeah, they'll be able to read them, but they won't be able to fucking believe them, Wes.
I had something to hide, and that there were going to be very embarrassing or damaging messages coming out. Now, do I...
No, oh, come on. What are you, like... Are you a kid or something? This is so juvenile. It should be as obvious to anybody with any common sense that there's clearly worse stuff than that which you've deleted, and you think you just throw out some of this that you think is easily explainable, is forgivable, and for some insane reason displays how you kept a distance from Mandelson as opposed to the obvious opposite. What planet are you living on? Just give it up. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. This is the fucking health secretary, for God's sake.
Do I resile from friendship with Peter Mandelson? Yes, absolutely, given his behaviour and what he's done. Do I resile from those messages? No.
How embarrassed are you by these WhatsApps between you and him?
I'm embarrassed to have known Peter Mandelson.
It's between you and he, actually.
I hope that, more than anything else actually in those messages, I hope I haven't caused either embarrassment or discomfort.
You have, and it is happening in real time right now, or it was when this interview took place, which I don't know, I'd guess took place at roughly 12 minutes past 6 in the evening. Jesus Christ, what's to save it? This is to save embarrassment? These embarrassing revelations are to save embarrassment. God knows what he must have deleted. Yeah. But according to WhatsApp, not even WhatsApp knows. Not even WhatsApp can read your WhatsApps. It's all super, super safe, you know. Tell that to the NSA. But, no. I mean, come on. He's already had to rifle through his social media and try and get rid of all of the pictures of him and Mandelson together, all of the tweets. Support. Oh, he's a legend. I'm so glad that we've got him on board. GE 2024. Let's go. Let's go, baby. No, they happened. That was a thing. One thing that pisses me off about politicians, the amount of times they pathetically try and undo the past. Would have a lot more respect for them if they just owned up and said sorry, instead of going through this rigmarole, which is as pathetic as it is condescending and an insult to anybody's intelligence, unless you know, got the IQ of a fucking spanner. Yeah, a bit quiet in the chat tonight, chats. You all just aghast and open-jawed at West Streeting's efforts. I mean, what can you say? What are you saying, people? Vivian, what do you think?
Wimp! Pervert! Nubbin!
It's a fair contribution. They're all dancing on hot coals, aren't they? Dylan, you're eating your tea. First of all, Solidari-Tea for calling it tea, not dinner. But that's a class thing as well, by the way. I won't go into the regards calories required during working hours. Anyway, from the Industrial Revolution. I'm going to move on. There's been, this. God. So, cramming everybody into a room. Please, please, clap for me. I know I threatened to sack you earlier this afternoon, or this morning, whenever it was. But now we're all going to do this thing and it'll all go away. It'll all go away now, because it's you know, it's going to make him feel better. He refuses to go to bed until he's been clapped. And a good many people in that room would have been planning their moves against Starmer, West Streeting included, I'd imagine. I don't think Angela Rayner would have been in there. And the BBC apparently had a reporter outside the door, and there were loud... there was a loud round of applause, which lasted, and they timed it as well, it lasted 37 seconds, apparently, so 37 seconds of, you know, arse-kissing, boot-licking, subservient sort of lackiness is going to make this all go away. I can't believe that that's the way that they think. This is Starmer's Labour Solutions 2026. They are light years away from reality. Light years. Because things happen, the past is the past. They can't make it go away. And let's take a look at the first PMQs from after Mandelson was announced as the ambassador to the United States of America. This isn't a Keith's catchphrases, no game involved, although I'll have to probably refrain myself from getting triggered. But literally everything that even Kemi Badenoch said was wrong about Mandelson's appointment has turned out to be accurate. Yeah. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So let's remind ourselves of just exactly the things that Starmer's denying ever happened, or that he's said, or that he's trying to say. I didn't know anything. I was lied to.
Does the Prime Minister have full confidence in Peter Mandelson?
Mr. Speaker, let me start by saying the victims of Epstein are at the forefront of our minds. He was a despicable criminal who committed the most heinous crimes and destroyed the lives of so many women and girls. The Ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with him. He's right to do so. I have confidence in him, and he's playing an important role in the UK-US relationship.
So you had confidence in him, and now Keith wants us to have confidence in Keith. Is this frozen again?
To do so.
Right, just bear with. Okay, 1 second. Bear with, people. Oh, we're back. Sorry to anybody experiencing buffering there. Now let's just get this clip up again. Yeah, I know entirely what you mean about Badenoch's voice. Sorry to subject you to it. It's only a short clip, fortunately. We'll have plenty of that on Wednesday to come. Yeah. Ooh, my voice was put on with ooh. I'm trying to sound like a posh person. Ooh.
Does the Prime Minister have full confidence in Peter Mandelson?
Mr. Speaker, let me start by saying the victims of Epstein are at the forefront of our minds. He was a despicable criminal who committed the most heinous crimes and destroyed the lives of so many women and girls. The Ambassador has...
Doc's back from the pub. Nice to see you, Doc.
Repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with him. He's right to do so. I have confidence in him, and he's playing an important role in the UK-US relationship.
This is interesting, Mr. Speaker. He says the Ambassador has expressed full regret, but the victims of the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein have called for Lord Mandelson to be sacked. And just so the House is aware, in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of child prostitution and sex trafficking that took place between 2002 and 2005. That is the precise period which Lord Mandelson called Jeffrey Epstein his best pal.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you shouldn't even consider anybody who'd been within a country mile of him professionally, or certainly not in terms of a personal friendship. Really, how naive do you have to be?
Was the Prime Minister aware of this intimate relationship when he appointed Lord Mandelson to be our ambassador in Washington?
Mr. Speaker, as she and the House would expect, full due process was followed during this appointment, as it is with all ambassadors. The Ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret. He is right to do so. He's now playing an important part in the US-UK relationship.
Mr. Speaker, I asked the Prime Minister if he knew.
What did we get out of it? We got tariffs. We're now paying more tariffs than we were before. How's that a win?
The fact that he didn't answer indicates that he probably did know. I wasn't asking a question about process. I was asking a question about his judgment. The Daily Telegraph reports today that while Lord Mandelson was business secretary, he brokered a deal with Jeffrey Epstein while he was business secretary, and that this occurred after Epstein had been convicted of child sex offences. Given this new information, does the Prime Minister really think it is tenable for our ambassador to remain in post?
Mr. Speaker, the relationship between the US and the UK...
Just a reminder, this is from September 25.
...is one of our foremost relationships, and I have confidence in the ambassador in the role that he is doing.
Mr. Speaker, I think it is embarrassing that the Prime Minister is still saying that he has confidence in a man who was brokering deals with convicted child sex offenders while sitting in government. That is...
Yeah, that was an open goal. That was an open goal for Badenoch. She knows. We all know it. Everybody knows. And if there's nothing going on, let's get the music back up. Then how come there's a mobile shredding van camped outside 10 Downing Street at the moment? This was... Graham, how's the sound? Noticed one or two issues in the chat. Won't be coming through nice and smooth to everybody. Sorry, I had to... sorry you were experiencing a bit of buffering earlier. Should be coming through in classic 480 at least. So what's going into the shredder? What do you think, people? Let me know in the chats. Please make sure you've hit thumbs up as you join us on stream. And answer the poll. This evening's question is whether Keir Starmer will make it through to the end of the week. Say you aye or say you nay. Currently 71 to 29 in favour of the nays. Just a reminder, by 52% to 48, viewers yesterday voted that Keir Starmer would resign before the next local elections in May.
Oh no!
We'll skim through this very quickly as well before we move on. Because Randy Andy's been in a bit of trouble again. Let's see what's happening with the piss artist formerly known as Prince. Tahi. The King has expressed profound concern. You know, if you have children, go and wake them up. He's got profound concerns. Profound. But will there be any action? No. But he's said some words. However, he's made his first sort of intervention and says he's ready to support the police as they consider allegations against his brother, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The King has made clear in words and through precedented actions his profound concern at allegations which continue to come to light in respect of Mr. Mountbatten Windsor's conduct, a palace spokesman said. So that's how they refer to him. Mr. Mountbatten Windsor. Just recently moved into a slightly smaller mansion. Thames Valley Police confirmed it's assessing whether there are grounds to investigate a complaint by the anti-monarchy group Republic, which reported Mountbatten Windsor for suspected misconduct in public office and breach of official secrets. Well done to Republic as well, great organisation. Led by Graham, who I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple of times. JSO and Republic sort of done a bit of stuff together in the past anyway. That was during the, what do you call it, coronation. Details of investment opportunities in Afghanistan are going to be coming up, described as confidential, which appear to have been passed to Epstein on the 24th of December. And again, just more about being deeply concerned. There has also been embarrassment for his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. Emails signed Sarah show appeals for support and money from sex offender Epstein. It's all over the place. So he's going to narc on... excuse me. He's going to narc on his brother, apparently. Just wanted to get that in before we close that matter for now. That's going to be a hot potato all week, I think. And of course, the Epstein files aren't going away anytime soon. But for now, let's move on.
On with it. Yes, get on with it. Get on with it.
All the Pizza Express receipts are going in the shredder. Yeah. Woking. Probably the Epstein files going in the shredder. Don't know what they might charge him with, but obviously a lot more revelations about women who were trafficked to him have come up. That's probably going to be the primary concern. On to hot seats, Gorton and Denton. Not too far away, just a couple of weeks now. It's a crucial by-election here in Manchester. Like I mentioned earlier, some of the latest, with 52% chance, the Green Party, currently the bookmakers' favourites. Reform are on roughly 45%, I believe. But Labour just on 10. So, you know, come on, Starmer, if you're serious about keeping Reform out, Polanski's got a much better chance than you do, and so does the candidate Hannah Spencer, who was in an interview with Politics UK, which they put out earlier today. If you don't follow Politics UK, highly recommend subscribing. Great channel. Going to see that interview now, when they managed to catch up with Hannah in Manchester.
Thanks for your time today, Hannah. Labour's decision to block Andy Burnham from standing made headlines earlier in this by-election. Are you at all relieved by that decision, given he was the strongest candidate perhaps to beat you in Gorton and Denton?
I wouldn't say I'm relieved at all. Like, I ran against Andy Burnham in the mayoral elections 2 years ago, and to be honest, I would have welcomed the opportunity to hold him accountable to a lot of things. I think a lot of people acknowledge that he's one of the better politicians, but I think he still needs, I think he still needs some pressing on some of the things he needs to be better at. And I think what's really clear from the last week or so, going out and knocking on so many doors, is now, if you'd have asked me this question a week ago, I might have answered slightly differently, but now I don't think that even would have been enough to have stood someone as, you know, popular as Andy Burnham. I don't think even that would have been enough in the face of how many people are so let down by Labour.
Yeah, and something else that's interesting is the timing of all of this, because if all this had happened before Andy Burnham decided that he was going to have a go at standing in the seat, then the outcome might have been differently, with all of this pressure over Peter Scandalson and all this stuff. Maybe the NEC might have even held back and said, go for it. And And these things have come just a few weeks apart. But like Hannah rightly points out there, having to defend this on the doorstep, whether you're Andy Burnham or anybody else, is that's a tough task. That's a really tough task. And at the moment, as predicted, you heard it here first on My Left Eye, Labour currently sitting in third place in the polls for that seat. And they'll finish at least third. They definitely will.
You've discussed your background in plumbing and plastering, and if elected, you'd be the youngest ever Greens MP. What would be your message to a Gorton and Denton voter that might be worried you don't have the political skill set or the experience to deliver on their priorities?
So I am really open about the fact I wasn't political until very recently. As soon as I realised how politics works and why it shuts people out, I realised I had to get my foot in the door and keep that door open for other people. But I've spent 3 years as a councillor on Trafford Council, where I've got to grips with political systems. I was thrown in at the deep end, and often that's where I thrive. And I've learned so much. I now lead my group of Greens on Trafford Council. And I just think I'm going to fight. Like, these systems are hard for people to access, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't access them. And I think one thing that is really clear that people will tell you, I work hard, I work so hard. Even when things are challenging and they're difficult and I feel like I'm maybe struggling, I overcome it. I like a challenge and I'm quite resilient.
The Police Federation recently came out to criticise Zach Polanski, where he celebrated the acquittal of some Palestine Action protesters. One of those protesters fractured a police officer's spine with a sledgehammer. I wonder, do you still agree with Zach Polanski's comments on those Palestine Action protesters? And would you have responded any differently to that case?
I don't know. I honestly don't know the exact comments that Zach was making or the exact details of that case. I think what has happened a lot over the last few years is there's been an alarming attack on the right to protest and the way that people can express themselves. And we're in a city region where our roots of activism run really deep. Like, we're the birthplace of a lot of movements. The suffragette movement here was really strong. And I think what is happening now is an absolute, like, things are at a real boiling point between people who really care about something, but governments who, instead of listening to people, are instead removing people's rights to protest.
Sure. Zach also went on Laura Kay last weekend and said the Greens would decriminalise all drugs because he doesn't believe in a fun police. Do you back that policy? And have you ever taken any drugs?
I think this is an interesting one because when I lived here in this constituency, and I see it in my job firsthand, like, the heartbreaking impacts of drugs in our society. I lived over the road from a family where there was drug dealing, and I saw the impacts it had on those children. And I used to get people knocking on my door trying to buy drugs in really sad, like, situations. And what
one angle, one perspective that never gets brought up. Let's say Polanski's on Question Time or whatever, or if that policy is being put to one of the candidates, such as in this case, they never turn around and say, well, yeah, we can literally get rid of most of the drug dealers in the country practically overnight by decriminalising, which is what it is, decriminalising. There's a difference between decriminalising something and legalising something. But as well as all of other positive benefits, treating this as a health issue, as it should be, as opposed to the stigma that it currently has. Also, minor economic benefits and whatnot. But it essentially boils down to control, people being able to control their addiction. And it's clear that any the war on drugs, Reagan's famous thing, treating this as a criminal issue as opposed to a medical issue doesn't work. It doesn't matter which way you try and skirt around it. And this is shown to be effective in other countries as well. So it's very difficult to argue against because even as we speak in the United States of America, which might, you can argue about which countries are more or less socially conservative than others, but in states, they currently have marijuana cafes and things like that. While it's still, is it a Class C or a Class B? Now they always move it about in the classifications. Class B, I think it is at the moment. But it just goes to show the difference.
Do know is the situation, the system that we've got now isn't working. Like, it is not working, and we need to think about how we're going to change and do something better. And we need to talk about regulating it. It's a system that is just the criminal network that exists and blights the communities in our society here in Gorton and Denton that live with the impact of criminal networks, of drug dealing. We can look at removing that if we regulate something.
You've previously called yourself reform's worst nightmare. Matt Goodwin is...
Because you'd have to be, and especially where Class A's are concerned, people who are involved in that are also involved in other areas of crime, you know, bad ones, like the worst ones.
Led his campaign so far, criticising Labour's records, calling the by-election a referendum on Keir Starmer. Do you think he's perhaps overlooking you? Is he scared to tackle you head-on?
I think he definitely is.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of people call me Reform's worst nightmare. I realised that was something I hadn't called myself, and I was like, wow, that's not the first time a man's called me their worst nightmare. But no, I think they're absolutely looking at it. I think they've made a really poor choice in busing someone in from an area he has absolutely no links to. He's come here to further his own career, and he's really, really misjudged the people in Gorton and Denton, and I think they're going to be really sorry for that.
Lots of local boozers in Gorton and Denton, they're shutting Labour MPs out of their premises. Would you back further bans on Labour MPs, given the struggle that they're presenting with business rises?
Yeah, I really sympathise with a lot of the businesses here who feel really let down by people, and I think this is just what happens if you end up standing for a party that really lets people down in the community, and if you stick with it, like all these Labour MPs, they could say at any point, I'm out, I'm done, I'm going to be...
Yeah, they can't get served in the pubs. They can't get served in the local pubs. It's that bad.
Being independent, and they've gone so far away from what I believe in, and I'm not going to have anything to do with it anymore. But they're not. They're still standing under the badge of Labour, and I think for as long as that happens, like, people are going to hold them to account, and I think rightly so. Like, people are being, quite fair and polite in how they're tackling this, and I think the Labour MPs have a lot to answer for.
How important do you think immigration is to a Gorton and Denton voter?
I think it comes up a little bit when people say that they might think about talking about reform, but it's not long before we have those conversations where I know those conversations I've had about immigration, like in this constituency and amongst my friends, like work colleagues, people know that the deep down the causes of the problems in our society are chronic underfunding of a lot of our services.
Yeah, immigrants aren't deciding how much you're on per hour. They're not deciding how much social housing there is, despite what reform might claim. These people come on boats and they get houses before our veterans do. It's all a load of easily debunkable nonsense. But of course, the real enemy arrives by private jet and not by small boats. Whatever Farage, Tice, or in this case, Matt Goodwin might want to tell people, or even fictional people such as Patricia Clegg from this, what's the word I'm looking for? Not nefarious, spurious campaign material, which we're still to hear updates on, that they conveniently forgot to put any, that is reform, put any insignia on. I mean, yeah, the real concerns of locals, we're hoping that they're clued up enough to see through all of that and realise the real problems in Manchester come from the rich and not from people who are just desperately trying to seek asylum because of whatever personal circumstances brought them to risk their lives to get to this country in the first place.
Reform, for a while, but I don't think it's working anymore. I'm seeing it's not working anymore. We're selling an answer to something that was never going to work. So I think they were just going with this idea, like immigration's to blame for everything, like that's the cause of all problems in society. And people here aren't stupid. People aren't.
Yeah, they did. I don't think it was immigrants that introduced the two-child benefit cap, was it? They didn't cut winter fuel payments for the elderly, did they? No. was the current government, wasn't it?
Daft. People are seeing through that and they're looking at an alternative that does fix the problems, like the broken NHS, crumbling schools with rat concrete, you know, not being able to get the services that you need when you need them, rising bills. People see that that's what the problem is, and that's not caused by immigration.
No. What it is caused by is tax avoidance and the amount of money that is put into asylum seeking processes, etc., is but a mere fraction of the amount of money from tax evasion from billionaires. And that is just as it exists as a current level, you know, at the current level it exists at, I should say, without correctly significantly increasing taxes on the wealthy as we should do. So even as it stands, the system itself is so corrupt and rigged to enable these people not just to be able to attain and hoard such amounts of wealth in the first place, but to do it and keep it by nefarious means of tax avoidance. And that's the real big piece of the pie that's waiting out there.
And just one final question, if I may. Keir Starmer's been under quite heavy fire for his appointment of Epstein associate Peter Mandelson in recent days. Do you think he needs to step down, Keir Starmer? And do you think Angela Rayner would be a good fit to replace him?
I think he definitely needs to step down. I would say he should have stepped down when he made comments about Gaza or refused to lift the 2-child cap. I think he's been on borrowed time for a long time. Definitely this week he needs to go. So I think what we're seeing, that we see all the time in politics, men with a lot of power looking after each other, and that is what we're going to stop. We're going to get into Parliament and we're going to say change is going to happen, and we're not having that system where people just look after each other. Instead, as a Green MP, we're going to say we're going to look after each other, everybody here in our communities.
Thanks for your time today.
Some pretty hardball questions there from Politics UK, but Hannah Spencer did more than a good job in holding her own there. Certainly stood her ground very well, as far as I'm concerned. Relatable answers as well. And I guess that's why they're currently the favourites to win. Just a couple of weeks away now, like I said. Touch wood, fingers crossed.
Jurassic Park.
And I think she's right, maybe people are waking up a lot more in Manchester. Let's hope throughout the entire country, whilst Reform still have a lead over Labour in the polls, that's somewhat on the wane. Depending on which polls do you go to, of course. Not just the bullshit about migration, the very fact that they're just full up of recycled Tories anyway. Apparently Farage is about to announce his so-called shadow cabinet. But when people take a look at that, they're probably going to look at each other and say, hang about. Is it 2013 or something? Because pretty sure, yeah. Something new, is it, Nigel? Then why is it all the same faces? I mean, who can miss that one? So yeah, good luck, Hannah Spencer. We'll keep you posted with any more news that comes in on this hot seats, one of our ones to watch this crucial by-election. Don't have intro tag music for that feature or segments yet, but do have something planned. Hopefully we'll have something soon. You're going to like it as well. Next, we're going to jump over to the States, because led by, it does concern Elon Musk, but I believe this stunt actually took place in the UK at various locations. It's another great one from led by donkeys. Concerning Elon Musk, so they went around a few places, Starbase, Tesla as well. So actually, unless, are there any Starbase bases here in the UK? Perhaps they did go over to America. But it's a great effort nonetheless, as you're about to see. This just sort of swings, it's the issue that won't go away. Swings us back round to those pesky Epstein files that all those politicians and billionaires don't like. Like a thorn in the side, like a stone in the shoe. Solo no spina. Let's check this out. Led by donkeys. Sure you all familiar with them anyway, but if not, go and check them out. Great work. He's been for whatever parties, whatever the fuck goes on in that crazy shit show. Led by donkeys. There, revealing some Epstein files on the back of the TV van. Yes, I'll go and give him a follow. Go and subscribe on Blue Sky, I guess, because don't follow them on Twitter. Go and follow them on Blue Sky. Sorry, Twitter's currently known as I've written here. Twitter, isn't it? Well done, led by donkeys. It's just a short one. Very quickly though. Unfortunately, quicker than it should be. Just whilst we're on that topic. Yeah, this part not being as long as it should. Ghislaine Maxwell was in front of it was the Oversight Committee in the United States today to testify. But as you can see here, yeah, kept stum, buttoned her lip, pled the fifth, pretty much across the board. A lot of people widely predicted that this would happen anyway. Instead of her spilling the beans or fessing up. So yeah, under the Fifth Amendment you can refuse to answer, basically. She appeared virtually, that is via camera, video link, and there was closed door deposition from the Texas prison where she's serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. The committee chairman, James Conner, said he's disappointed we have many questions to ask about the crime she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators, I don't know, such as potentially, allegedly, maybe, who knows, hypothetically, whatever I have to say to legally cover myself. Peter Scandalson. Dun, 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 dun. So that's pretty much it. There's not a lot to say because there was not a lot said, as widely expected. Just bringing you up to speed with that one, in case you weren't aware. Didn't want to grass anyone up to try and make a plea bargain or anything, do you not, you know? How does she sleep? How does she sleep? And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it, of course? When you look at her pension-thieving father. That scandal from back in the 80s and 90s, wasn't it, I think? God. And still, yeah, number of arrests since all of these millions of files came out. Still zero. However, people, it is now time to say thank you once again to all the members on the channel. Just another quick reminder as well, super chats are still open, super stickers as well. Super thanks are open if you're watching back live, and there's a buy me a coffee page in the description of the stream. Please use the excuse me, the hype button. Got a frog in my throat tonight. Not enough tea. Yeah, use the hype button, please, to help us spread the good word around the information superhighways. Next stop, social and environmental justice. What do you say? But yeah, we do say that we appreciate all of the support that we get on the channel as well. Thanks to all the members, especially those who've renewed recently, as well as gifted to others. What a good bunch. Marvellous members. The Brew crew. Brew Chachos. You can see I finally managed to get the tricky characters up. It wasn't having it before. On those elaborate member names. Doc Davies, thank you for those 5 gifted memberships. And Lost Missionary, thank you for those kind words as well. Let's please give a shout out in the chat to Doc for those gifted memberships. Big up, big up. Cheers, Doc. So 184 now. Awesome. Speaking of awesomeness and Solidari-Tea, just going to get a raid queued up so you can stay put, people. More quality content to come if you're a bit of a night owl. And whilst I'm doing that, just a reminder, people, only a few moments remain, although it does look pretty decisive at the moment. But a few moments nonetheless to vote in the poll, whether Starmer will last the week or not. You're currently looking optimistic about his chances. Which is a strange thing to say where Keith's concerned, but this it's only a week. That's how the American... Oh, great. Another week. Yeah, we've still got, you know, there are so many contenders who haven't faced each other on Keith's catchphrases. No, I'd happily ditch Keith's catchphrases to see him out the door, just to remind you. Alright, we've got No Justice. Excellent. Yeah, stick around for No Justice. If you don't know the channel, go and check out. The handle is @NoJusticeMTG. Yeah, great socialist channel. Host Helena also appears on Zach Polanski's Bold Politics as well. They recently linked up, and she also links up with the excellent Kevin Logan as well, very regularly. You probably recognise the face if you don't know the channel already. So subscribe and like. That's all locked in. We've got some sort of post-credit shenanigans as well as a further incentive for you to stick around. So I'll do the final countdown for the poll, I guess. We'll close that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's all over. It's all over. Some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. They're absolutely correct. Decisively, 67% to 33%. So you'll give them a week. You'll give them a week. At least that will make for an entertaining PMQs. On Wednesday, which you'll be back for, of course, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content on the channel, including that. And the debut for new contender, Clear. So all that remains for me to say for this end of the stream is thanks for joining me. You've been a wonderful audience as always. It's been great to see you all and catch up. Power to the people, Free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan and Yemen, and all of the Fulton 24 on all charges. Don't let the bastards grind you down. And my left, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night.
The door is open and you can leave.
It's what Hitler and Goering did, and it is textbook. And if you think the next time it happens, we're gonna recognize it because they're wearing scary uniforms, you're out of your damn